I told you ahead of time we were going to get into this. So you were associated with the internet phenomenon that was and still is, I guess, to an extent, Jason Genova,
Yes,
at Delray Beach, Florida. He had his 15 minutes and then some on YouTube. Huge celebrity, and they called you Koth, Coth PJ, because I think Jason doesn't really spell that well, and he called you Koth PJ. But how did you get wrapped up? How did you get involved with this craziness that was Jason Genova and the Rey Misfits?
So you'll remember this, I think. Back in time, Mark Alvisi wrote about it in his column in Muscular Development, that he basically was called out on YouTube by this guy, Jason Genova, right? And I have always been, or was always, an avid reader of Muscular Development. So I was like, I got to see who this guy is. And so I typed in Jason Genova, Mark Alvisi. I saw the video. I thought it was hilarious, but I thought it was, like satire.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I want to do a video with Jason Genova. I'm going to befriend him, and I'm going to tell him I'm going to train you to beat Mark Alvisi. And I know Mark Alvisi. We're friends. We're cool. It was just me kind of trolling,
Yeah.
So when I moved to Florida, I invited him to the gym, and he showed up with his mom, who's kind of like a female version of him, really.
Jane. Yeah, I've met Jane.
I love Jane. So I realized, I told Aaron was there. We had the cameras there. I said, man, this is not an act. He, I don't know if he's like has Asperger's syndrome or is high functioning autistic. This is the real deal. Like we can't do this the way I originally wanted to do it.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? Let's just do a really hard leg workout. We'll see if you can make it and go through, and then we'll go from there. So I killed him. We did that video got so many views.
Oh yeah.
And, he was throwing up and everything else, but he wouldn't tap out. And at the end of the video, he was like, I got balls. And so, I gave him my number. We started talking every day. And I was like, man, if I can get him in shape, I'm the best coach in the world, because he can't keep focus for more than 30 seconds.
Right.
So I made it my mission, and I thought it would be great for business and everything else, but it was so hard because he's so easily influenced by other people. And you also never know if he's really telling the truth or not. So it wound up being the most funny times until, unfortunately, he started getting, there's still a lot of people from that whole like subculture of that time frame in YouTube.
Yeah.
That are awesome guys that I've actually met over the years that loved that time. But he got messed up with some very bad people who were kind of almost doing like jackass style videos with him.
Yeah.
And some of the bad people that he got involved in, they started going crazy with the Order 66 and like really terrorizing people. And we were getting threats to the office from companies that wouldn't carry our products anymore. I mean, it was a crazy, crazy time. And then finally, the last straw, because I put up with a lot with Jason, and I probably, without exaggeration, have given him at least $50,000 worth of supplements and probably like $20,000 of cash over the years,
Yeah.
So when Rich Piana died, he said that he was glad that he was dead in a video.
Yes.
And let me tell you, that day, my dad, who doesn't know anything about any of YouTube or anything, called me on the phone. Whatever's going on with just Jason Genova, I don't know what's going on. You've got to fix it. We have people that are writing like F Blackstone Labs on the customer service. We've got stores that say that they're discontinuing working with us because they love Rich. And I didn't even know what was going on. And then I saw it. We had to get the lawyer involved to say, like, listen, we don't condone the statement. I told him, I'm like, Jason, man, of all the things that you've done, this one I can't forgive you for, bro. Like, we're still going to be friends. And I'll even still give you products. But I can't have you representing the company anymore. You've caused me a lot of issues. You're affecting the jobs of the staff. The staff was really worried. And we actually took a hit in our business for a little while.
Jeez.
Over that. It was crazy, man. The influence that he had over a certain group of period for a while was profound.
I mean, for those who don't know what Order 66 was, it came from one of those Star Wars movies.
Yep.
It was like an order for all the Jedis to be murdered or something. And he would say to his fans, I want Order 66 on PJ Braun, for instance. And then they would go on all your social medias and just troll the crap out of you and try to get you shut down. And it was rough. But I don't know how you put up with it for as long. I knew him a little while, and I was so frustrated the fact that you tell him something and like 2 seconds later he forgets it.
Yeah.
You know, he can't retain information. He listens to someone will tell him something in the next minute, and whatever you told him is bullshit. And he was an imposter, a coach's worst nightmare, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The learning disability or whatever he has. I'm sure that's the main reason why.
I have a lot of patience, and I got a lot of I also got a lot of laughs out of it. But what a lot of people didn't see too is there was a lot of rough times where there was a time where the social media stuff. I also think there was a change in his medication and things that were going on at home where I was talking him off the ledge like quite a few times. I got a call one day. My mother was for some reason at the office, and she was like, listen, that boy that you help is here and he's in the parking lot crying. I'm like, he's fine. I'll be there soon. I raced over there, and he was like, everybody hates me. Yeah. Everybody writes the meanest things about me. And I don't understand. And I'm like, Jason, listen, man, you've unfortunately set yourself up for this now, where if it's getting you like this, then I feel that you should just get off social media completely, or understand that there's just people that get enjoyment out of this, and you have to not take it as seriously. But that was his world. Like, he lived it. Yeah. And so, now his mom, she shut it down. I started doing stuff with him, just for my own personal stuff when I got home. And Jane called me and she was like, listen, I don't want any videos with Jason on your page. We're only letting him have Instagram for his coins. That's it. I don't want him in the bodybuilding world at all. She's like, the Order 66 has caused problems with my family, with my, dying mother. And I was like, listen, I don't want any problems with you guys. I have no idea what happened while I was gone. I said, it's all just fun for me. I love Jason, I was like, I'm not getting in any issues over this, so that's why there's unfortunately no more, there's no more PG and Genova videos ever again. That's it.
Well, there's no Jason videos. I mean, he can't, I commend Jane for doing that, because I know that was his whole, I don't want to say reason for living, but he went from, I don't know if he's mentally challenged in some way. I don't know exactly what way.
Yeah.
But, he's working at a grocery store. He likes lifting weights, but all of a sudden he's catapulted into fame on YouTube, and he became a celebrity in our world. And, people still talk about him. They still I still get comments on videos. Should have done the Ruby Classic, or It Politic, or It Sick, It Piss. He's got these catchphrases. So he was famous. Yeah. He still is famous. So, in one aspect, I feel bad that he can't do that anymore. And the other aspect is, I'm sure it wasn't, in some ways, like you said, anytime you have any degree of fame, no matter what it is, but especially on YouTube, there's going to be a lot of people that hate you for it and just want to fuck with you and make your life miserable. And people have been driven to suicide. And I'm glad that Jane pulled the plug on it before it got to that point, because I could eat. It would not have surprised me one bit to hear that, Jason took his life because online people were trolling him online so badly.
Yeah, he's so out of the whole thing now that when Big Lenny, who was part of that whole Delaware Misfits crew, somebody reached out to me and they were like, hey, Big Lenny died. And I'm like, well, because it's from that group, I don't know if I'm even going to believe this. Right. So I texted Jason, who was very close to Big Lenny, and I said, hey, I'm like, did Lenny die? And he texted me back, I'm not talking about this. I said, either he did or he did, Jason. He said, I don't want any problems with any of those guys. And I was like, forget it. I actually still had Andrew's number. And I texted Andrew, and he was like, yeah, yesterday he passed away. And I was like, Jason, why couldn't you just tell me that? I know you know. Yeah. And he's like, well, I'm not supposed to talk about anything from that world. And I'm like, yeah, but friend to friend, I'm just asking you a question. And he's like, I don't want any problems with my family. So he's staying very far away from any of that.
Okay. Well, again, I give you so much credit. You're far more patient. I lasted about 10 minutes with that kid. And I put him through a leg workout and just tried to help him pose. And I was like, man, this is like everything literally goes in one ear and out the other. It's like, you know, I don't want to put the kid down, or that he's not a kid anymore. He must be pushing 40 by now.
He's 40 now. Yep.
Is he 40? Wow.
Yeah.
But the amount of stuff he did for him, I'm glad you gave me some rough dollar amounts, because there were all these videos where he would just show up at your warehouse, and it was like a kid trick-or-treating. He would just grab all this stuff, and you'd give him a million shirts and supplements, and he'd come in and ask you for cash. And, you know, I'm like, PJ's a nice guy, but I would have kicked this kid in the ass and said, you know, enough is enough. So
yeah, I had a big soft spot for him for a while. So.